I guess when the logo disappears is when I go, right?
You're live.
Okay. I'm waiting for the logo to disappear. Like magic. There we go. All right. So we're live. Welcome to OnSet. I am Daniel Norton. We're back from a big break here at Adorama, and we decided to stretch our legs by doing a little bit of a live OnSet instead of a regular pre-recorded one. And we're here in the retail store in New York City, and I get this question a lot, so I decided to play around with it a little bit, plus I want to play with a new lens. So what kind of lens, focal length, should I get for portraiture, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up a basic lighting setup here with Dave, and I've got a 24-105, and we'll just kind of walk through. Now, normally, kind of standard portrait, you want to use a relatively long lens, right? The longer lens is going to allow you to stand back further, which is going to give you more compression, which is going to help make things like big noses and stuff be reduced and flattened. But I've been having this conversation with a lot of people that more and more people are using wider lenses for portraits, and I think the reason why that's become more acceptable is because everybody's shooting themselves with their phone all the time, which is a wide-angle lens. So people are just used to seeing themselves now with wider lenses. So I think it's just kind of a trend that's going on. So why not be trendy? That's me. So I got the Canon camera here. This is a 1DX. I got a 24-105, like I said. I am tethered here into Capture One. I'm going to turn off my internet because my Tinder's blowing up over here.
Your laptop's not in the system.
Oh, it's not? My laptop is not in the system. Should I unplug it? Okay, I will unplug my laptop and plug it back in. This is what happens when we go live. Tell me if that works. There I am, right? Nope. Let me try something. Okay. Set this messing with that. We'll figure it out. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is set up a basic lighting scenario. I like to use hot lights sometimes for this, plus it's what was here and I'm lazy. So I've got some Arri Fresnels here. This is a 300 watt Fresnel. This is Dave, by the way, if everybody knows that. And Dave's got a good classic face, classic features, so he can take a hard light really nicely. This is a 300 watt light. It is a 4.5 inch roughly lens, so it's going to be relatively hard, but it is a Fresnel, so it'll be even, right? It's going to spread out over his face. Now, whenever you're using these kind of hot lights, you want to let the person know that you're going to turn it on so they don't look right at it. Put your hand in front of it. Striking is what people usually say. You are striking, Dave. We'll do something more shadowy. We'll be moody today. It's a Monday. So I kind of put it where I like it. Somewhere like that. It might be cool. You can obviously light it however you like. I'm going to take my light meter. This is a Sekonic 308 SU. And now, because it is a portrait, I want to keep the minimal amount of noise because it's anything. I always want to keep minimal noise. So I have my light meter set at 100 ISO. I'm going to try to shoot around 125 just in case Dave moves a little bit. So I'm going to put those two parameters into my light meter. If I get a good enough aperture to shoot with, then I'm going to be golden. If not, then I'll make adjustments. So I'm going to point the meter at the light. I am getting a 6.3, which is basically 6.5. That should be good. That worked out well. I'm going to use a second light over here. This is, again, a 300 Fresnel. This one I'm going to use as a separation or hair light. Again, I'm turning it on, striking. Same deal. I have barn doors on it to control the spill. This is going to be pretty contrasty, I think, overall. There is some light in the space, obviously, that's going to affect our shot, which is not really a problem for me right now. Now, one thing I will say is that these are tungsten lights, right? So I need to be wary that my white balance is correct. So I'm going to go to my camera. I'm going to dial in my white balance to tungsten. I am shooting raw and into Capture One, so of course I could easily just fix that or change it later if I goof up, but Dave doesn't want to look orange in the pictures right now, so I'm going to start at 6.3. Now, again, your light meter is only telling you what it thinks is the right exposure. So the first thing you should always do is take a shot and see if you like it. So I'm at 105 right now. I'm going to shoot horizontally just because I feel like it. Hopefully I have enough room here. Now, one issue you may have with a longer lens is you need more space, obviously, right? So you can see how far away I'm standing, which is pretty good. So If you start to get too long on your lens, you might have to start yelling at your subject, which, you know, maybe won't be the best thing in the world to do. Okay, so I'm focusing on Dave. I'm going to take a quick shot. Maybe turn your face slightly this way. I want to get a little light on both of his eyes. Good, here we go. And we'll take a picture, see what it looks like. No, that's not terrible. Okay, so I can see here that my hair light is not doing anything. So I'm going to move it because it's pointing too far to the back. I was trying to be overly dramatic with it. So I'll be less dramatic. Dave fixed it for me, so I don't have to do anything. It's always important to have a subject that knows how to light themselves. What's that? Enlarge the window. Okay, good. Thank you, Seth. Because you can see all the junk on my desktop. And I can make it disappear right by going like this. There we go. Ah, okay. Perfect. All right, let's take another one that's not terrible. That's better. Ah, there we go. Perfect. So let's say that we like this, whatever. It's pretty nice. I'm going to adjust it a tiny bit. Maybe come a little bit more. Yeah. No, just your face. Yeah. There we go. I want to get just like the hint of light on his eye on this side, I think. Just because he has like really nice blue eyes, so they'll pop out. There we go. So it's kind of dramatic. And let's say that's our baseline. So now we're at 105, right? And we can see, you know, it looks pretty nice. It's pretty flattering as far as the angle. Now, if I were to take my lens, let's say, and I'm going to walk down, let's say I go to 70. A lot of people use a 24-70 lens, so come in closer for that. I'm going to try to frame it up roughly the same. It's pretty good. Now, this is still pretty decent. And again, this is what they call what people would call a full frame camera, right? Dave's the model. Dave is the traditional and original OnSet model. Mm-hmm. All right, so now I'm going to go, what's that? Oh, not now. All right, I'm getting, like, my Tinder's blowing up over here. All right, so now I'm at a 50. Again, you'll come a little taller. Dave got taller all of a sudden. Now I'm going to come with a 50. And this is the kind of, whenever you get a new lens or whatever, this is actually a good process to walk through, get a friend or something and set this up and just kind of walk through and see what the lens does to their face. It's kind of a really simple exercise, right? So now we're using a 50. We can start to see more drama. So I'm going to go back to the 105 is like my baseline. So, right? So we can see the difference, right? See how his nose is changing, how his ears are changing. He's probably getting a little uncomfortable. I'm getting that close to him. There's a 35. And again, this is all assuming that I'm doing roughly the same framing. Obviously, if I'm going to shoot a big portrait of the whole room or something, then using a 35 from back there, he'll still look the same, right? Because it's my distance really that's affecting the shot primarily, as far as the, oh, now I'm a little closer. There we go. So 35 is actually kind of fun. This is a good focal length, I think. I like this personally when I start to go wide because it has that exaggeration. It's kind of like there and personal in your face without being too crazy, which I think will get a little funkier now when I drop down to 24. Gotta watch where the tripod goes there. We don't poke your subject. Okay, now this is getting really funky. All right, so this is pretty good. I might even be too close to focus with this lens, actually. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to frame it out exactly. What I'm going to do is if you ever want to like play around with this, it's kind of fun. Uh-oh, it's going to happen, Seth. I'm coming off the tripod. I know it's exciting. So one thing you can do is take your camera and basically take it off the tripod and set your focusing to its minimum focusing distance, then turn off your autofocus, and then just kind of walk in until it's in focus. Now it's interesting here, that's about as close as I can get, And we're actually picking up the background now too. We're getting that light back there, which is kind of interesting. And you can see it's really getting distorted now. Dave's a little taller than I am, so he's like looking up, so that also affects it. But if I was to kind of come up with my toes a little bit, or Dave gets shorter, which is always nice. You can also utilize that. And again, I'm just moving back and forth. So you can kind of play around with that, how it affects the face. But what I really want to mess around with a little bit is, I'm gonna walk off, oh, there we go. Thanks, Fernando. It's important to have at least 10 people helping you at all times. This is a 15 from Eric's.
There you go.
So I picked this up a couple weeks ago. It's a pretty cool lens. I've been messing around with it. I originally got it to shoot some kind of landscape stuff, which I've been doing. And actually, if you're at Photo Plus in New York, next week, I think it is, I'm going to speak for a moment at their booth. So maybe I'll even show this picture. We'll find out. If it comes out all right, we'll find out. This is two birds at one stone. That's the key here. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm going closest focusing distance with a 15, right? So now I'm going to really get up in Dave's grill. Luckily, we've known each other for a long time. And this is really gonna, right, that's now we're getting some, now actually, try to keep yours perfectly straight. Mm-hmm. We'll try to get like, and depending, whatever's the closest thing to the camera is gonna be what's exaggerated. So that's gonna be his nose, right? So you can even do like a little eye towards the camera, yeah. That might be a little dark actually, but yeah, a little bit. Yeah, do the other side so I get the light on you. Right, we can really make his eye blow up in the camera and play around with that. But one of the things that you're going to have with the problem with this is, again, we're getting so close and funky that the lighting is maybe not appropriate anymore for this. So what I did do, because I knew I was going to do this, hey, Ephraim, no, we're live. So you can talk to everybody on the internet right now. So I have, yeah, there we go, a ring light. I know you guys love ring lights. So this is the Flashpoint something or other ring light. I always forget what it's called, but it's like an LED 19. Yep, thank you. And I like this for this because it's kind of a funky specialty light, and this is a specialty lens for this application anyway. So it's an LED light. It is dimmable, so I can turn it on and kind of don't look at it because it's probably going to be painful. But and we can put the light right in close. Don't look at it. Now this is daylight balance, so I'm going to adjust on my camera. Oh, I'm also going to meter it before I start, make my life easier. So again, I got my light meter set the same way. This is giving me an f4. Tripod's in the shot? You can take it, okay. Or were you just saying get the tripod out of there so Daniel can't have it back anymore? Oh, move the thing, yeah. I put stuff in the frame. Sorry, guys. So I think it's because they're being like discreet trying to move stuff, and I'm just pointing it out. That's just what I do. So this is a 15 again, f4 now. This lens actually goes to 2.5, 2.4. So, and I am going to switch my white balance to daylight. Should be good. That should be close enough. It says it's daylight. Let's see if it's correct. And, well, that's interesting. Actually, step back a little bit. A little bit more. Good. I want to get a good circle in his eyes. So that might adjust my exposure a little bit. I'm going to go a tiny bit brighter because I just moved. There we go. If I can get a focus here. Good. All right. So let's see what that looks like. Wow. Okay. Now that's really, and he's very dreamy. Dave, you're so dreamy. But see, now with the more shallow depth of field, and with the cool reflection in his eye, it kind of suits the lens more. Actually, let's go closer to the wall. This is going to be your... This is definitely the, for this. If they did this for driver's license pictures, people would be a lot happier.
My coffee hasn't kicked in.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's very tired today. Okay, so let's try one more time. We're keeping roughly the same distance, so we should be fine exposure. You can also get weird and do stuff like this. Well, if I can focus, it'd be, there we go. Can do that, get the thing in the shot. Kind of fun. All right, let's go here. He stuck his head through the light. He's like, ah, okay. There we go. soften down a tiny bit. There we go. Nice. Cool. Right. And now I just fix the background. You know, and again, it's just like using the cool lens with the cool light to create kind of a fun portrait, right? All of these are portraits. You've got your classic, you know, the 105, right? Classic portrait, all the ways down to, as we get wider, stuff that's a little bit more funky, and then a 15 with a different, composition to kind of create really something interesting, and you can really play around. I like this a lot for kids too. You get down low with them and get in close. You can go deeper on your depth of field, obviously, if you need to, so they can move around more. But it's kind of fun. Also good for selfies, that kind of stuff. So any questions before we?
Will a 70-200 cover most everything?
Yeah, if you have a 70 to 200, right, which is a kind of a standard zoom, that's great for kind of traditional portraiture. It's a good length. I mean, I like primes because I'm lazy and like to carry small things, but if I only had to have one lens for like portraits, it would probably be a good standard lens to have, yeah, for sure. Well, 24 to 105 is another great option if you're only going to have one lens, period, because you get good coverage, and 105 is generally long enough. 200 millimeter portraits can be interesting, but in some people, it can really flatten them too much. So you got to kind of be a little bit careful with that because they start looking unreal almost, and some people don't like that because, again, I think the trend now is people using wider lenses to shoot, so it'll look odd to people, so it's kind of a funny thing. But if you get the 200 millimeter f2 from Nikon, that's a classic lens. Oh my God, so nice. Okay. Yes, I love lenses.
I don't think you know this, but if they were to have if you happen to know when rentals will have the A1.
I do not know when rentals will have the A1 as soon as they can, because the A1 is not available yet, right? It's going to be available in November. As soon as it's available, generally speaking, and I don't know this is like a general industry thing, rental houses get stuff before stores. They do that because they make huge orders, they have deals, so they generally get it, like as soon as they hit the store shelves, they usually get some. So probably November is what I'm guessing. Other questions? Is that good? Is that enough to get a paycheck today? I think so. All right, good. Hopefully that worked. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Adorama TV. By the way, we're back. If you guys are normally watch or come in on Thursdays, we haven't been here in a couple of weeks because we've been closed. We're doing beauty this week. Are you streaming yours? No, you're not. But if you are in New York, come by Adorama tonight because Seth is doing now you have to do it, is doing a demo in special effects. So otherwise, tune in on Adorama Tuesday on Thursday.
What's your Facebook and your YouTube?
All right, I'm going to throw some of these on I'll take a few more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll throw some up onto my my personal Facebook so you guys will see it, Daniel Norton Photographer, because I know sometimes it's hard to see the pictures. And you can see stuff like this. Cool. Thanks for watching. See you next time.